Hello and welcome. I hope you're good. I'm all good as usual, so yeah, that's good. Yeah, just a quick one today. I finally got these slabs down. I went for the grey, as you can see, and the reason for that is, if I come around this way, remember I said I was going to jet wash off in inconspicuous situation. I did, and it was this one here. Now, as you can see, that particular one, funny enough, is actually like more the cream, the buff colour. And I was a bit like, oh, is this patio all like cream then? Because if it is, then I can jet wash it all off and have it all cream. And then what I was a bit worried about was the contrast between the sort of patio and the edge in there, you can see. But if it's all cream, the actual shape of those stones is different, so we'll provide the contrast. So that was my thinking anyway. But I thought, oh, what I'll do is I'll just do the next one along, which is actually under that seat at the moment. It's a bit messy over there because I sort of jet washed everything towards this corner. I'll clean it up today. But that one's actually a kind of greeny grey, so I was kind of like, oh dear, this could be a multicoloured patio. So I was umming and ahhing about it for a while, and then I just thought, you know what, sod it, I'm just going to jet wash them all off. You can't see how light these things are now actually, because it's literally just rained about 10 minutes ago and suddenly the sun's come out, so I thought I'd do this now. But they're quite light, but they are a greeny grey, and I've only just given them a straight jet wash at the moment. So I did buy some patio cleaner that you got to leave on it for half a day without it raining, so hopefully that'll brighten them up a bit more. I put these ones down, and as you can see, with me walking all over them with muddy boots, they've started to weather a little bit more. So hopefully, you know, these will get darker, those will get lighter, and they'll sort of meet in the middle somewhere. I'm not amazingly fussed either way, but yeah, hopefully if I can do what I can do. So for these, because I'd had the coping stones down as a double layer on this single track here, what it was, that was all like, I'd purposely done that, so when I walked over it over the year, it compressed all the mud underneath, which is quite heavy clay. So then when I took them all up, all I did for the moment is just grabbed a couple of bags of sand and then just laid it down to sort of build up any divots or things like that, so they're all even. They're not dead right, you know, but they're pretty close. And then what I'll do at the moment is just leave these as they are, walk on them for 6 months, or you know, until whenever. That'll compress them down. Then I'll get another layer of sand in there, and hopefully I don't want to lay them on concrete, I don't want to lay them on cement basically. I'm just going to lay them on sand, and then that just means if there's any issues in future, I can just lift one of them up, put a bit more sand in there, or take some sand away, and just do it like that. So a slightly annoying thing on this actually was that obviously this single track here, I want the lines to marry up with this patio that's already here, which I have done. But what that meant is that when I got these three here, you can see they're slightly skew width. They're not half and half like you would normally do, and that's because the half point of the sort of patio is this line here coming up dead straight up through the middle. But if we follow that up, it's actually about 6 inches to the right of the centre point of the garden, if that makes sense. And the reason for that is I worked it out because it was confusing me a little bit, and the reason for that is because I wanted to get this flower bed over there where the Dixonia is and the fig tree and the Atrata, that I moved the whole thing out about 12 centimetres. So these two octagons that are side by side, this will be what will be a patio area and the play area, they're not actually butted up against each other, they slightly overlap, and that sort of forced the centre point to the left of the true centre point, if that sort of makes sense. So as a halfway house, I sort of just shimmied these across because I figured what's actually going to frame this isn't the fence posts, and you know, when I say frame this, I mean this walk up to this patio here. It's not going to be the fence posts at all, it's actually going to be the edging. So I did have a little mess around with it. It's a little bit of particulars still to go through, but essentially where those sort of, you know, bits of mud are, I'll cut some stones, I'll cut triangles out of the existing pavers I've got dotted around and lay them in there. I did do it with this half one here, I did do it with a full one being there, but what that meant is this top lot like sort of overhung too much and it made it a bit too big. I mean, I still might mock it up again and see what happens, but yeah. So that's that. And also regarding the sort of pattern of it, this is actually going to work really well. I do love it when a plan comes together, because if we look down the centre, so the centre of these top two stones, if you like, the middle two stones, that is the centre point. So if we were to come across to here, we can see that the edge of that little flower bed with the erythracea and the Dryopteris, which is dead, I want the fence post kind of in line with the corner of that fence post. So if we come down, it's roughly just to the left of this first coping stone that comes out, sort of that little section there where my toe is. Ooh, like there, which is, as we can see, one coping stone out. So if we come one coping stone out over here, which makes it about here, it is pretty much bang on. So a little bit of wiggling around, but essentially that's where the two fence posts are going to go, so that's happy. And then what we've got, again marrying it up a touch, is that the centre line walking up to the patio is going to be about here, so just to the left of this, where my foot is here, that's about the centre line there. So if we look at where the 45 is going to meet, that's going to meet up with this coping stone. So essentially that's 1.5 from there. So if I come across half and one again, it's sort of just going to be roughly where that one is, you know, where if that stone wasn't there, it would kind of be that bit there. That works out absolutely perfectly, because it gives a little walkway out to the bench, so that worked out quite well. On this side though, it doesn't actually work out. I haven't done these. This is what I'm going to do today actually, is mock these up a little bit and just try and work it out. But with this one, the middle is actually, the middle of the sort of bit is probably the line in these coping stones here. So if we have a look from that 45, it's 2 whole coping stones before it starts to rise up, and then here is going to be 1, 2, and then it's sort of going to be under the step. So I need to do something there. It's not a massively, you know, the end of the world, but yeah, there we go. So yeah, a bit of messing around to do, but it's left me plenty of coping stones left, as you can see, so I should be able to do all the edgings. What I'll do is I'll do the cuts and get all this done first, because it's the most important thing, and then any excess, and depending on how they cut, I'll do it, you know, the edging for that wall, like that little bit is next to the bench over there. So yeah, other than that, it's all going well. On an update on the interior ones, the big Cyathea is not loving life at all indoors. It's way too dry in there, way too hot. The trouble is, I was keeping it in this little room here, which is unheated, and in the garage, so it was doing okay, but because I'm currently doing that up, like plasterboarding and cementing and filling in holes and all that sort of thing, I've cleared it all out, which has just meant that it's had to go into the lounge, which looks fantastic against the white walls and the white shutters, but yeah, it's going brown at a rapid rate, but it's also growing really quickly. One of the fronds has grown about a foot in about a week. So yeah, it's one of them. I do need to get this bit over here sorted pretty sharpish, and like I said, well, you can see actually the camellias are starting to come out. I was hoping that they weren't going to flower so quickly and they were going to stay in the bulbs, and then what I do is move them before they start flowering, because I've got a feeling that if I put stress on them, i.e. move them, the first thing they're going to drop is going to be flowers, which will be a bit annoying, but yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, this sword fern here will come across to where this crispin one is. I'll take that one out. 2 camellias, big one where the erythracea is, the smaller, taller one behind it. Small Cyathea in where that is. That Jurassic Gold will go over with the ticky heads, and then the big Cyathea in here. So yeah, cut that bamboo down as well, but it's been a bit windy in that for it at the moment. So yeah, that's just the plans, keeping it ticking over. So yeah, hopefully today I'll clean up the rest of all this, and then I'll do these steps. Right, looks like I'm wanted, so I will bid you adieu.